for LGA. Staff of River State Transport Company appeal for reopening of the company. A spokesperson of Labour Party distances party from insurrection plan. Court dismisses appeal seeking to disqualify APC's Bola Tinubu and PDP's Atiku Abubakar as presidential candidates. On the foreign scene, U.S. Army helicopters crash kills 9 persons in state of Kentucky. I'm Adedayo Ilushakin. The chairman of the River State Task Force on the 2022 flood disaster, George Nweke, has dismissed allegations by a community leader in Akinima, Ahoda, West LGA that resources meant for flood victims in his community did not get to them. Nweke told our correspondent that the committee reached out to all communities affected by the flood.
I was put as the chairman of that committee. Chairman of Ahoda West was also a member of the committee because local government was flooded. The chairman of Ahoda East was also a member of the committee. The chairman of Obebe local government was also a member of the committee. The chairman of Abu Adwal was also a member of the committee. The chairman of Emoha was also a member of the committee. These are the people that represent their people. And when this happened, we started work. All the chairmen performed well. They opened camps where people were sheltered. This person talking now, does he know he has the local government? Will he tell me that people from his community, his councillor, was not in the situation room? Or maybe he was somewhere in Port Harcourt and wanted to bring food for him in Port Harcourt. For all the people who were in camps in Ahoda East, Ahoda West, Obebema, Abu Odwal, Emoha local government, Kotor local government, we visited personally.
Recall that community leader Chief Viniata Abieba had alleged that the victims of last year's flood disaster in his community did not get any attention from the government. And River State Governor Yusuf Wike has announced the expansion of the ultra-modern abattoir in Ngoshimiri to include an open space market at a motor park. Governor Wike said this during an inspection of the site today. He also frowned at the slow pace of work at the abattoir. As you may know, the abattoir is designed with the capacity to slaughter 400 cattle, 1,500 goats and sheep in one day. And some staff of the River State Transport Company RTC are pleading with the River State government to review and reopen the River State Transport Company, which has been locked up for over 3 years. Now, some of the staff who spoke to our correspondent said it has been very difficult for them to survive this past years.
ROTC has been shut down for 3 years plus now, keeping the entire workers stranded and hopeless. It has been hell. Most of our staffs have died. Out of simple things that they can take care of, we are still working.
Some of us here don't spend 15 years here, 20 years for this ROTC work. So waiting at the beg and be say, this ROTC no go forget us so that we go smile. With almost 300 workers, so we no get to where we go work again. And look our age and look at what we do, making help us. And if our workers, some of them they die, but we see the hope to open the place for us, take good care of us. That be our hope and our faith. We are the new. I know that he can use this moment now to reshuffle things as a man of caliber. We know him as somebody that can solve matter. Can use these 2 months to bring back ROTC to life again.
And following the federal government approval for the construction center of excellence for environmental restoration, former Mosul President Legbonsi Piegbara says there should be no further delay in the execution of the work. Piegbara, while speaking to correspondent Soibiruwari, said the work should start without any delay.
The necessary work and processes already been included in the governing council of IPRED. So the government of Nigeria is not budgeting any new fund for doing what is going on. It is money that is being appropriated from the Ogoni Trust Fund. Different, the government is not doing any special thing for the Ogoni people. That's what we are saying, that any product delay is not justified. The funds are already available. It's not the federal government of Nigeria budgeting building the center. That budget is already captured within the context of the Ogoni Trust Fund, which is being contributed by the joint venture.
He also spoke on the economic value of the Center of Excellence for Environmental Restoration to the Ogoni people and the entire Niger Delta.
It's supposed to be a place that will build our young people, young scientists from across Ogoni and the Niger Delta. It's supposed to be a place that should also promote best practices in environmental studies and intervention. In matters of oil spill management, and we expect that center to be a place where issues like that will be handled with some best practices and expertise that are available in the world. So our young men will be trained on those issues. It will provide jobs for people. It will also be a training ground for our Buddhist scientists, particularly the environmental sector.
A former Mosul president also spoke on the stage of the federal government electricity project awarded recently.
One big driver of economic restoration is electricity, and that is why we demanded that as part of this whole process, since you're talking about recovery and restoration, one way we can recover the economy of the area is that electricity has to be provided in the area as part of the economic recovery of the land. I think it's in that direction that we are seeing the land projects. But I know that communities have donated land. I know that they are now looking at right of ways and all that where the transmission lines will be.
Recall that yesterday the Federal Executive Council approved 2 contracts for the construction of a Centre of Excellence for Environmental Restoration in Ikana local government area of River State at a 100-bed specialist hospital in Ogone. Members of a SIM 4G support group, accountant in River State Civil Service, are congratulating the River State Governor-elect Simon Delai Fubara on his victory at the March 18 governorship election in River State. Speaking for the group, a representative said the electoral victory of the governor-elect was ordained by God, describing the governor-elect as an accomplished accountant and administrator who rose through the ranks in the River State Civil Service. The group said it is pleased that Fubara made history as the first civil servant in River State to be elected as a governor, as well as the first governor-elect in River State of Okpobo Ibani descent. The group further said that the emergence of Fubara as governor means so much to accountants in the state, as it is a prayer answer to consolidate on the performance of Governor Wike. They also commended the governor for the honour. Lawyer Richard Wokocha has urged the Department of State Services to treat with seriousness the treasonable plot by some persons to install an interim government in the country. Professor Wokocha, lecturer at the Department of Public Law, River State University, said this in an interview with correspondent Emeka Otuka while reacting to the statements by spokesman of the DSS, Peter Funaya, that the agency had identified some key players in the plot to install an interim government. He said DSS should ensure that the law takes its course.
The proper thing should be to invite those persons. It is dangerous because we all have ideas of what we think should be done. And if we are allowed to run with our ideas, then everybody will be at the mercy of every other person. And that's not right. There are legal procedures for responding to issues, and that should be taken. I think that one of the things we have done badly, even up to the period of this election, is in not enforcing the laws. So if there are things going wrong, the DSS should act. Leave the rhetorics and advice to National Orientation Agency. Do your work. Invite the persons and caution them against fanning that ember of crisis in the country.
And moving on, Labour Party House of Assembly candidate for Huda Constituency 2, Wisdom Odum, says he has approached the Election Petition Tribunal to allow his legal team have access to inspect materials used at the March 18 election. He claimed that the election was free and fair.
I am in the State Assembly Tribunal today to file an ex-party application for the tribunal to grant me and my legal team leave to inspect beavers and to obtain election material from my unit up to my constituency. I am very optimistic that by the grace of God, the tribunal will give me a favorable judgment.
His lawyer Isaac Odum also spoke after filing the petition.
We are today at the registry of the Rivers State House of Assembly Election Tribunal to file an application on behalf of my clients to inspect the beavers machine and obtain result sheets from the units, the ward and the constituency level. We have not been able to get it from INEC. That is why we have approached the tribunal today. I believe that the application will be granted in the interest of justice.
The Labour Party says it is not part of any insurrection plan. A spokesman for the party, Yunusa Tanko, in a statement, described the development as a conspiracy against the state. He, however, accused the DSS and other security agencies of not protecting the interests of the Nigerian state during the 2023 elections. It is the major news on Nigeria Info. Still ahead, Code of Conduct Bureau to begin investigations into petition against former Vice President Atiku Abubakar. Do please stay tuned. The Supreme Court has dismissed an appeal filed by former Minister of State for Education Chukwuemeka Nwajiba, seeking to disqualify Bola Tinubu of APC and Atiku Abubakar of the PDP as presidential candidates of their political parties. The Apex Court dropped the suit on the ground that it was started barred. Nwajiba and a civil group are challenging Tinubu's nomination on the grounds that he did not disclose the source of his 100 million naira, which he paid to obtain the nomination and expression of interest form in contravention of the Electoral Act. And the Code of Conduct Bureau is set to commence investigations into a petition against former Vice President Atiku Abubakar for allegedly using the special purpose vehicle to divert funds between 1999 and 2007. The CCB and Keyamo have both confirmed the development. Recall that the Minister of State for Labour and Employment, Festus Keyamo, submitted the petition against Atiku in the build-up to the just concluded presidential poll. And head of an intergovernmental agency, Giaba in Nigeria, Timothy Melaye, has advised youth to form alliances that will help curb crime in society. Melaye gave the advice during a campaign against money laundering and terrorism financing among youths held at the University of Port Harcourt. Melaye stressed the need for youths to understand that crime does not pay in the long run. And as part, Vice-Chancellor of the University of Port Harcourt, Professor George Wunari, urged participants to help build a new system that will drive peace, security and sustainable development in the state. Over 50 selected students took part in the campaign organized by Giaba. Giaba is an institution of the Economic Community of West African States.
And now the business news.
The nation's public debt stood at 46.25 trillion naira as at the end of December 2022, according to the Debt Management Office, which released the data this afternoon. The figure accounted for the total debt owed by the federal and state government as well as the Federal Capital Territory.
Take it away with the entertainment news.
A 4-year-old boy, Shahid Al-Bahiri from Abu Dhabi, UAE, who wrote a book about kindness, is now the world's youngest person to publish a book in the Guinness Books of Records. This record was verified on March 9, 2023, after he sold over 1,000 copies of his children's book.
And now, updates on the sports news.
The Confederation of African Football has announced the kickoff and final dates for the 2023 Africa Cup of Nations to be hosted in Côte d'Ivoire. The opening match will take place at the newly built Alassane Ouattara Stadium in Ebimpe, Abidjan on Saturday, January 13, 2024. The ground will host the final on Sunday, February 11, 2024.
And now, we'll bring you news from around the world. And now, updates on the sport.
9 people have died after 2 U.S. Army helicopters crashed on Wednesday night in the state of Kentucky. The incident, which involved the 101st Airborne Division, happened during a training mission near a military base. It's unclear what caused the crash. The investigation into what happened is underway. And that's it. On the news this evening, you heard the Chairman, River State Task Force and Flood Disaster, George Nweke, has denied allegations made against the task force. Governor Wike has announced expansion of the ultra-modern abattoir in Mgboshimini Obiakpo LGA. Staff of River State Transport Company are appealing to the government to reopen the company. Spokesperson for Labour Party has distanced the party from any insurrection plan. The Supreme Court has dismissed an appeal seeking to disqualify APC's Bola Tinubu and PDP's Atiku Abubakar as presidential candidates. On the foreign scene, U.S. Army helicopters crashed in Kentucky killed 9 persons in the state of Kentucky. And that was the news. As edited by Onyeka Chinwosu. Light rains expected in Port Harcourt this evening, and do remember that peace is the path to the prosperity of a nation. Let peace reign. And thanks for listening. I'm Ade Dayo Ilushakin. Good evening.